We all know that words matter, whether that's in person, in a video chat, in a text, whatever it is, we know that words matter. And like for me in marketing, I think about that a lot and how I'm communicating with customers. But something that we forget about is how we communicate with each other, in particular with the team or with, if you're in a leadership role, the people who work for you, and how your words are perceived and how they are interpreted. And that goes both ways. When someone's giving you information, how you perceive and interpret and infer what it is that they're trying to tell you. And that could be dangerous, right? We find ourselves in a situation where we hear or read what someone is saying and immediately get angry or upset or frustrated or confused because at the time we're trying to infer what the other person is trying to say. What is it that they are actually saying versus the words that I heard or saw them say? And that gets us into a trap because then we're trying to interpret what another person is saying and filling in the gaps with words that they didn't say. And now there's absolutely a space, especially as someone who does a lot of copywriting, that we try to pass along information in words that we didn't say, as well as the words that we did say. But when it comes to being a leader, that really matters. And I've run into some scenarios recently where I've had that type of interaction, where I was working with someone who's a client. They were telling me something on how they wanted to run their business and the marketing that they wanted to do to their customers. And what I kept hearing was something different than what he was actually saying, because I was filling in the gaps in my mind of the information that was missing from what he was saying. And that's a tendency that we all have. We all look at information and data the same way, which is if it's left unsaid, then that means that it's up to the other person to fill it in with their own imagination. If they're missing information, they're going to fill in the information themselves. And so what I've been using a lot recently is one of my absolute favorite ways to handle these types of discussions. And I actually use it all the time, even if I think I'm 100% on the same page with the person. As I say, I think what I'm hearing is, and then restate back to them in my own words what it is I think that they're saying. And then finish it off with, do I have that right? I think what I'm hearing is, you would like me to do X, Y, and Z. Am I hearing that right? And you would be really, really surprised at how frequently, when you do that, the other person, especially if you're not on the same page, hears that and says, no, I'm sorry, you have that wrong. This is what I mean. And that's on you. You were just interpreting it wrong because you were filtering what they were saying through your own biases. Or they realize that they presented the information wrong. Sorry, listen, I led you down the wrong path. Allow me to restate that. And this is really, really powerful as a leader and also talking to someone who's your leader, someone who's your manager. Because if they're passing information to you and you feel that immediate anger or frustration, I can't believe they just said that, or they went a route that I told them not to do, or they're making a decision that I know that is bad. If you restate that to them, hey, I think I heard this. Do I have that right? You'd be surprised at how frequently it was misinterpreted or it was misrepresented. And when you do that, you have an opportunity to communicate on an entirely new level and build that trust way, way stronger after bringing that up, instead of letting it slide, letting it fester, letting yourself get all worked up about it, because you find yourself in that scenario a lot, right? And then later only to find out they actually meant something else. And then you spent all that time being upset and angry or frustrated or sad about what it is that you heard. It is way better to get it out there in the very beginning and say, wait, time out. I think what I heard was this. Do I have that right? And that saying is so, so powerful, because it doesn't just work when you're receiving information. If you're a leader, you can also make sure that you pass the information correctly to your team. You can ask them, okay, hey, I would like you to repeat back to me what I said in your own words, how you interpreted what I was talking about. And that gets a little tricky, because you definitely don't want to come off as being condescending. So you have to figure out a different way to be able to phrase that. But you will ask them, can you rephrase that to me on how you heard that? What do you think I mean by that? If you were to go do this, how would you proceed based on the information that I gave you? And if they repeat back to you something that was not what you were intending, you know you need to pause, restate what you're doing, and make sure that you're both on the same page. And it's so critical that the communication goes both ways and that we are both on the same page and we both understand things the same way. And then we can get real good work done. So that's one of my absolute favorite phrases to use. Did I hear this right? Restate it. How does that sound to you? Do I have that right? Ask that question and see what the response is to that. By the way, this is my second favorite thing to do as a leader to make sure that we're on the same page. The first one is scaling. Now that's a totally different topic to talk about at a different time. I encourage you to look that one up though before we get to that video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic and using that phrase. So did I hear that right? What I heard was, did I have that right? I'd love to hear you reuse that phrase on me on what you heard from this video. And I'd love to see those in the comments below wherever you're watching this. That's what I got this time. Bye, pals.